Hi guys, my name's Barry.
And I'm Jack.
And welcome back to the channel and welcome to our X-Men universe movie reviews. Again, it's just mini reviews we're doing. What we're going to focus on, as usual, is our best and worst characters and our best scene in the film as well. But we're moving on to X-Men Origins. I'll give you a little backstory because you won't know this, Jack. After the X-Men trilogy wrapped up, they decided to go on a kind of solo route. So Wolverine was going to be the first in the solo movies and Magneto was going to be the next one after Wolverine, but they decided not to do that because of what happened with the Wolverine film. It didn't do very well, and they still went in a prequel route, but not just Magneto. They went with First Class, which we'll get into soon. But yeah, Wolverine wasn't a major success when it came out. A lot of people didn't really like it, to be honest, and it kind of went downhill at that point. But for me, I enjoyed Wolverine, the film, when it first came out. So I was looking forward to seeing it again for doing this review. Now, with the rules that we're going to have with this one, Jack, is because the film is a Wolverine film, we can't choose Wolverine as our worst character, and we can't choose Wolverine as our best character either, okay? Because it would be pointless to do that because the film obviously focuses on Wolverine, so we can't choose him. That's the only rule for the Wolverine films is we can't choose Wolverine as our best or worst because that would be unfair. So anyone else is fair game. When I say anyone else, no, we can't use like, I don't know, Jogger number 2 as our worst character because they're not really a main focus. So we're only really focusing on main characters. That's what we've been doing throughout. But just to remind you guys at home, we're not going to be choosing random characters. It has to be characters that have got a bit of a part to play in the storyline. So let's start with our worst characters. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so who's your worst character?
My worst character is probably Agent Zero. They didn't really make it quite clear on what his power was. I think it's like he's good with guns or something like that.
He's kind of like Hawkeye with guns or something like that.
Yeah, he's like that. I just didn't quite like him. I thought they were going to do a lot more with like, you know, like people at the start with like, they were like their kind of own X-Men stuff. I thought they were going to do more with that. But obviously, how it turned out, Wolverine left them. And I just thought the rest of them characters were really useless. And especially Agent Zero, I just didn't like his character overall and I thought he's quite annoying. And yeah, really my worst character is Agent Zero, nothing else to say.
Yeah, he is a bad character. He wasn't my worst. But Agent Zero, he was kind of useless. I thought there was going to be a really good fight scene between him and Wolverine.
Yeah.
But it kind of fizzed out in that helicopter scene, remember?
Yeah.
He just kind of crashed. So yeah, Agent Zero, not a good character at all, to be honest. For me, I think my worst character is unfortunately Chris Bradley, who is Bolt, played by Dominic Monaghan. Now, I thought I was going to love Dominic Monaghan in this film because I love him in The Lord of the Rings and I love him in Lost as well. But he was underutilised in this one, but I had to put him in it because he was part of their crew. Can't remember what they called their crew again. X-Force, no, not X-Force, whatever they were. I thought he was going to play a bigger role in it, and his powers are good.
Yeah, they're really useful.
But it just kind of fizzed out, and obviously when Victor came to collect and take him and kill him, he was useless. He just sat there and thought, right, okay, just kill me. Obviously, he knows that he's no match for Victor, but at the same time, put up a bit of a fight, maybe burst bulbs or something like that.
Yeah.
So for me, unfortunately, it's him. Okay, so we'll move on to our best characters. Now, there was quite a few in here that I did actually really enjoy. Do you want to go first with your best?
Okay, I'll go first.
You go first. Okay, so who's your best character in the film?
It's probably going to have to be Stryker. I like the way, like, he was a human, but he was powerful at the same time. And I just thought he was a really good villain. Like, he betrayed Wolverine, like, saying, like, he'll make him power to take down Victor, his brother. But actually he was going against Wolverine. I just liked the way, like, they twisted it a bit when he was working with Victor. And I thought, like, for a backstory in the Origins, it was like when Stryker was younger, and I thought it was a good lead up because when we saw him in X-Men 2, we knew he was going to be this kind of bad guy, and the way X-Men Origins did it for Stryker, I thought it was really good, and I just overall loved his villain arc character.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. But he's not my favourite, but I agree because after watching X-Men 2, obviously Stryker was an old man, an older man in X-Men 2, and then when we saw him as a young character in Origins, it gave you that connection between Origins and the first trilogy.
Yeah.
And with knowing that Stryker's going to become this bad guy, how is it going to evolve? How is it going to get to that point? So yeah, Stryker is a really good character, especially like you said, he's a human being. So it's hard to outdo mutants in X-Men films, but Stryker is one of those characters that kind of gets under your skin. Okay, so my best character, I'm actually going to have to go with Victor Creed, Sabretooth. There's just something about Liev Schreiber that I love, and he does look a little bit like Hugh Jackman as well. They genuinely look like brothers. And then obviously the big sideburns and stuff helps, but they genuinely look like brothers, and you can tell that they loved each other and they hated each other at the same time. But when Victor was bad, he was diabolical. He was scary as well. I think he stole a lot of the scenes too. I think sometimes he was just as good as Wolverine in terms of wanting to see these characters on screen. Obviously, Wolverine, you're there for Wolverine, but with Sabretooth, you're kind of there for Sabretooth as well. So Sabretooth for me is just head and shoulders above everybody else. Before we get into our best scenes, I think a lot of people probably thought we were going to choose Deadpool as our worst character. Yeah. And although Deadpool isn't the Deadpool that we love in this film, and I know everybody knows that with Ryan Reynolds obviously reprising his role as Deadpool, I feel like he was not a terrible character. I think what they tried to do with Deadpool in it, I don't know why they went that route, but with what they tried to do, it wasn't the worst idea. Giving Deadpool all the powers, like Cyclops' powers and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't the worst idea. Obviously, it's bad, but he's just not the worst for any of us, is he?
Yeah.
Nah. Okay, so we'll move on to our best scenes. Now, I'll go first. Yeah. Our best scene. My best scene is the beginning montage. Not the beginning when Jimmy was a young kid. The montage of Jimmy and Victor going through like the wars and stuff, like World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, just showing you them aging together. But as this montage is going on, we already find out just during like a non-speaking montage that Victor is becoming more of an animal. You know, he's like hurting people, and you can see it in Jimmy's eyes, Logan's eyes, that there's something not right there about Victor, and because of that montage, it kind of tells a story without actually saying anything. So it was beautifully shot as well, just showing them aging throughout the years, because it starts off in 1845, I think, and obviously it goes 120, 130 odd years into the future. So yeah, that was my favourite scene.
For me, I don't know why I loved the scene, but it was when Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, like came out of the elevator and like all the guns started firing at him. He just blocked every single one. Also, that one bit of the scene where there was a guy behind him about to shoot, and he saw him at the shine of his sword, and then he cut it in half. I just thought it was really cool, and I also thought it just showed that he could play the actual Deadpool in the future, Ryan Reynolds. So for me, that was probably my favourite scene.
Yeah, I also think that although Deadpool wasn't the best character, of course, it just showed that, like you said, Ryan Reynolds could actually play a proper Deadpool in the future with the way he was obviously doing the swords. I think that was pretty cool. Yeah. Don't know what his powers were supposed to be at that point either. Same. They didn't really show him.
Swords or something.
Yeah, was he human at that point? He was just really good with a sword, and then he became like this unstoppable thing after. I don't know. So obviously his character was just completely ruined in the film, but some of the scenes he was really good. He was obviously the merc with the mouth. He was quite cheeky and stuff in the elevator and on the plane. So I think he showed glimpses of what could have been, and luckily for us, we got to see that in the future. So let's get into the overall thoughts of Wolverine. Now this was, I think it was the second time I saw the film. First was in the cinema, and then the second time was with you. For me, again, it's kind of like The Last Stand in the fact that it's okay. It's not aged badly. I don't think it's got any worse, but it's not getting any better for me. It's an okay film. It's watchable. Some of the characters were pretty cool, but it didn't really stand out. There were some really cool scenes in it, but for me, it was just an okay film. What did you think of it?
I mean, I thought it lacked on a lot of things that they could have done better. They didn't really try, in my opinion, because like some of the CGI was worse than The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, see, like, remember when they were thinking the kids to Professor X and the thing?
Yeah, it was all like green screen, you can see.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the CGI? Remember we went to the old couple's house, and his claws came out in the bathroom, and he was doing this in the mirror.
Oh yeah.
It just looked totally fake, and I'm like, how much money did you spend on this film?
I know.
So yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
CJ.
I thought they lacked on that, but there was a few really good scenes. I just loved the way they showed like him and Victor growing up in the World Wars, and you could see how old Wolverine actually is. And I just thought they did that perfect, but they did lack on a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we obviously couldn't choose Wolverine as our best characters, but Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I still think with every film he's in as Wolverine, as one of the main characters, it gets better and better and better. So, Wolverine aspect, I thought it was brilliant. You know, him playing Wolverine, brilliant. I love the backstory. I don't even know if that's the full backstory that we get in the comics, or is it just like kind of one comic section, and there's all different comics with different backstories. But with the backstory, I really liked it. The story aspect was okay. I just thought the execution, it could have been better. So that's it for X-Men Origins Wolverine. Next up, we're going to have X-Men First Class, which is the first film in the franchise that has the younger characters, which again we'll get into in the next video. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!